A lot of people look down on low-proof whiskey these days, but that means missing out on some fantastic bottles. So let's take a look at 5 great low-proof whiskeys. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So the truth is, these days a lot of people turn up their noses at low-proof whiskey. And there are a lot of reasons why that is the case and why we see this trend. First of all, higher proof whiskey is often more full of flavor and packed full of punch, which just makes a lot of sense, and especially as people get into their bourbon journey, they're going to gravitate toward that kind of experience. Second, higher proof whiskey, especially like full proof stuff and barrel strength stuff, that is kind of right out of the barrel and it's not watered down at all, which often contributes to the feeling that you're getting a much higher value on that bottle and the money you're paying isn't for something that's been seriously watered down, which I totally understand. And then also high proof whiskey basically can hide some of the flaws that you might get in a not so perfectly balanced whiskey. So if you've got product that's in that like 4 to 5, even 6-year-old range, you put it up to barrel strength and it can hide a lot of those flaws, and it often makes that whiskey a lot more palatable. But of course, the natural side effect of this gravitation toward high proof stuff is that low proof stuff gets put to the side. But I think more concerningly, it gets looked down on, it gets disparaged, and people start to badmouth it. Wanted to make a video highlighting some great low proof whiskeys because there are serious benefits to low proof whiskeys. So starting with that last point, you can't hide flaws in a low proof whiskey. When you water something down, the flaws are going to be much more apparent, and the premium is on a well-balanced product. So when you find a good low proof whiskey, it's gonna have great balance. Second, I'd say that the flavors can certainly still be there. They're just gonna have to be more in sort of harmony to really create a great product. And of course, with low proof whiskey, you've got something that's more approachable, easier to sip on, and let's be honest, we don't all need to be drinking 130 proof stuff all the time, especially when we're sharing it with other people. We don't need to be necessarily proof hounds or snobs. It's gonna turn people off to whiskey if their first experience or their only experience around people who drink whiskey is all super high proof stuff. Last but not least, I would just say in my own whiskey journey, I started off with lots of low proof stuff and learned different profiles and got familiar with that stuff. Then I really went hard toward barrel strength stuff. And I think that's a progression a lot of people go through. Right now I find myself gravitating back towards some low proof stuff to really hone my palate, get better at picking out that balance, and I just appreciate these lower proof, easy sipping experiences that are well made. So wherever you are in your whiskey journey, let's dive into a list of 5 great low proof options. And by low proof, I'm putting the cap at 90 proof or lower. So first on the list is a classic bottle. Has gone up in price and is a little bit more exclusive now, but it's so full of flavor and well balanced, and that is Evan Williams Single Barrel. So proof point on this is 86.6 proof. It is an 8-year-old whiskey, 8-year-old bourbon, and man, this stuff is good. So full of vanilla and raisin, a little bit of leather, aged notes, some caramel in here. Really just has this wonderful silky profile as well. Unfortunately, this is now a Kentucky only release, which is a little bit sad. I think it might still be out there in certain areas that you can still find it on shelves. But if you're ever in Kentucky, I'd highly recommend picking one up. They're usually going for around 35 to 40 bucks now. That used to be more like 28 or 30 bucks, so a little bit sad to see them go up in price, but still very much worth the buy. Next on the list is a product from a distillery that actually does mostly low proof stuff and still has a great following and creates great products, and that is Michter's Sour Mash. So this is an 86 proof whiskey. I believe the mash bill here is undisclosed, but it's somewhere in that like 45% rye and 45% corn kind of mix. So it's a little bit towing the line between bourbon and rye. I really enjoy this. I think it's got great apple notes, great fruit notes, but with a good caramel and vanilla backbone that the bourbon offers. So really, really solid whiskey. Probably my favorite Michter's product I've had, and would highly recommend picking it up. usually around 50 bucks for this product. And again, it's just one of those cases that this 86 proof whiskey probably has more flavor in it than half of the stuff I taste above 100 proof. Next on the list is a bottle that is well loved for a reason and is a perfect introduction to bourbon in lots of ways. And that is Buffalo Trace Bourbon, 90 proof bottle. Absolutely full of flavor. Cherry, grape, vanilla, honey, a little bit of spice. Great age on this, around 8 to 9 years old. So it's gonna give you some brown sugar and barrel notes as well, a little bit of oak. This product for right around 25 to 30 bucks, though a little bit harder to find because Buffalo Trace products overall are harder to find. It's just a great representation of low proof whiskey and how balanced and mature and sort of harmonious the experience can be when you nail it. Also just lets you know why Buffalo Trace succeeds at almost everything they do is even their base stuff at 90 proof is really, really good. All right, next on the list is a product that we have a hefty age statement on, but also quite low proof, and that is Russell's Reserve 10-year-old. So as you can tell, I love this bottle because it's all gone. It is a phenomenal whiskey, guys, for right around 30 to 35 bucks. 10-year-old age statement. This is a 90 proof whiskey, still packed full of vanilla, lots of black pepper and baking spices on this, and a good amount of oak because of that age statement. And again, it's a great representation of Wild Turkey Distillery, and especially their Russell's lineup, the balance and sophistication that you can get. This one I could sip on all day long and just really enjoy. It's versatile, and I think that 90 proof makes it go well in cocktails, makes it go well as a sipper. You could put this on ice. There's just so much you can do with even this 90 proof whiskey, especially because it's got a huge age statement on it. All right, just before we get to the last and oldest product on this list, I do want to say, if you're enjoying all the content coming out of the channel, would love to have you subscribe and join us for the journey for the rest of the year and going forward. While you're at it, hit that like button and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any new videos. Also want to hear in the comments below, what are some of your favorite low proof whiskeys, and do you think low proof whiskey is kind of getting a bad reputation these days, and does it deserve it? All right, last but not least on the list is again something with a great age statement, and that takes us into a category of whiskey that really represents low proof whiskey well, and that is Redbreast 12. So we've got an Irish whiskey on the board now, and in fact most international whiskey, you've got Irishes and Scotches, some Canadian whiskey that is much lower proof than what you'll find in the world of bourbon and rye. And often that's because they have much higher age statements, takes a little bit longer to mature, but it's just a great representation of what, I believe this is an 80 proofer. Yeah, 80 proof. It's so full of flavor. It's got nice roasted almond and nutty kind of quality. It's vanilla and shortbread all day long. It's just a really nice, smooth sipper, and I have gravitated toward this more and come to appreciate the low proof approachability of it, maintaining a little bit of spice, a little bit of kick, but you know, much more approachable and a great one to introduce people to whiskey through. And this one's available for around 65 bucks, 70 bucks. International whiskey is a little bit more expensive, but you know that you're getting a quality product with a very solid age statement. All right, everybody, so that's my list. These are 5 great low proof options, all below 90 proof, that basically I think anybody can sip on and enjoy. In my own journey, I've found each of these very helpful and pivotal. They've helped train my palate, and as I get further along, I'm starting to gravitate a little bit more back toward these low proof whiskeys and really just enjoying these well-balanced sippers. Let me know in the comments below, how'd I do? How's my list shape up? What 5 low proof options would you put on your own list? Are there any that I've missed or any that you recommend I check out sooner rather than later? Until I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.